Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 12 of my vinyl and music collection. And I can't believe it's been 3 months since we started this little project. I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and the old podcasts are coming on nicely as well, so thank you very much for that. And if you do enjoy them, please subscribe. Anyway, this week we're going to talk about my collection of folk singers and folk group. We've already done one episode which was called Folk America. This one's a little bit more international, and I'm going to start off with one of my favourite Fairport Convention albums. Reason being, this is my favourite album. It was Sandy Denny's last album with Fairport. She only recorded 4 albums with them, but they were 4 immense albums. She recorded 3 in 1969, and this was her last album, which was recorded in 1975. Now, the other reason why this is my favourite is because back in 2011, I was very privileged to be the singer and rhythm guitar player for an American guitar player called Jerry Donahue, who was Fairport Convention's lead guitar player after Richard Thompson, and he recorded up to 6 or 7 albums. And you can see Jerry by there in the picture. Jerry's a master guitar player, known for his work with the Telecaster, Fender Telecaster guitar, and really privileged. And you can hear his guitar work in this album. It really does stand out. Sandy Denny's songwriting is immense in this album as well. Totally incredible. And the album has got all the different writers from the band, so it's quite diverse. And so the lineup for the album would have been Sandy Denny, Dave Swarbrick, Dave Pegg, Jerry Donahue, Trevor Lucas, Dave Maddox, and Bruce Rowland. That's a classic Fairport Convention lineup, and the actual track list starts with the title track album, and that's Rising for the Moon, and that was written by Sandy Denny. And what a great song to open up with. She's got such wonderful, powerful vocals, sweet. And a little bit of information: Sandy Denny was voted in the top 200 of the greatest female singers of all time, and that's a great accolade. I'd put it up even higher than that, but there you are. Rising for the Moon is a great album, is a great song, and starts off the album brilliantly. Second track is called Restless, and that was written by Trevor Lucas, and he's the guitar player on this album, and he's as brilliant as Jerry Donahue. Third track, White Dress, written by Dave Swarbrick, and Dave is a great vocalist as well as being probably one of the greatest viola, fiddle players, acoustic guitar players in the folk genre. Plays dulcimer, everything. He was a wonderful musician. So I would definitely check out Dave Swarbrick. Let It Go was written by Sandy Denny, Dave Swarbrick, and Dave Pegg. That's like the classic Fairport, and it's another great song. Stranger to Himself, that was written by, let me have a little look at that one, Sandy Denny, great song. And track 6 is written by Sandy Denny as well, What Is True. I can't describe how brilliant Sandy Denny is on this album. Her vocals are totally incredible. Side 2 is called Iron Lion, and that's written by Lucas. Dawn. Now this is a favourite song of mine, not because it was co-written by Jerry Donahue and by Sandy Denny. It's such a lovely, lovely, lovely song. Track 3, After the Halloween, another song written by Sandy Denny. Track 4 is Nighttime Girl, and that's written by Dave Swarbrick and Dave Pegg. A great, great song again. All these songs they've got a little bit extra to them, you know. They're not your traditional kind of folk songs as such. There's a bit of country folk going on in there, a bit of folk rock going on in there, some great guitar playing going on there, great musicianship right through. I think my favourite track of all in this album is the last track, and it's called One More Chance, and that's written by Sandy Denny. It's just a great song. It's showcasing her vocals, it's showcasing Jerry Donahue's guitar playing, it's showcasing everyone, but in particular those two. And they worked a lot together. They were Fotheringay as well, Jerry Donahue and Sandy Denny. Great album. That's the back of it. It's got a nice little inner with all the lyrics. Some lovely pics. And it looks like if they're in a bar. This was recorded in London and mastered in Los Angeles. And that is Rising for the Moon, Fairport Convention. And I think that's a really good start for folk groups. My favourite Irish singer-songwriter, Christy Moore. I never tire of this man. I've seen him live and he just blew everyone out of the water. He is an incredible writer. He's quite political, lovely singer, and his albums and his stories are fantastic. There was a time back in the 70s when we had the Troubles in Ireland, and apparently the Special Branch, which would have been like a British police section, and they would keep an eye on his gigs, who was going in and who was going out. Very much a political singer as well, a singer for the working classes, for the downtrodden. He's had many troubles himself, a reformed alcoholic, and he actually writes about his problems with the old alcohol. Anyway, let's have a little chat about the songs on here. I don't think there's a dud song on here. First one, side 1, Sweet Music, Roll On. Typical Christy Moore. Second track, Delirium Tremens. Well, that's the DTs. That's what Christy Moore suffered from. The DTs is when you're trying to recover from alcoholism, you get these awful DTs, and it's a wonderful song. He's put a little bit of humour in it as well. I think my favourite track on here, and probably it was the first Christy Moore song I ever heard, and I'd have heard this song in about 1991, 1992, and it's the title track, and it's called Ordinary Man. Again, it's about the working classes, mainly of Ireland, and their troubles, and he's basically singing about himself, about a young chap bringing up a family. Track 4 is called Matty, nice track. Track 5 is another brilliant song, and the song is called The Reel in the Flickering Light. That is a lovely up-tempo Irish ballad, fantastic. The last track, the Diamondina Drover, and that's another brilliant Christy Moore song. Side 2, right, it starts off with an industrial accident in Ireland, and it's called The Blantyre Explosion. And he's basically singing about and documenting this awful accident. Track 2, Hard Cases. Track 3, Continental Ceilidh. It's a lovely song, and we all know what a ceilidh is. It's an Irish knees up. Track 4, St Brendan's Voyage. It's a great song. Another Song is Born, and the last track is a track called Quiet Desperation. And again, Christy Moore wrote a lot of the songs. They were quite biographical, and I've got no doubt that that song was about himself. A great album, great pick of Christy Moore in concert. We've got a song sheet on the back. Well, it's not so much a song sheet. It's just basically a sheet where you can buy Christy Moore records from. This album was released in 1985, and it was produced by the great Donald Lunny, and he's actually one of the musicians in this album. So Christy Moore, Ordinary Man, one of my favourite Irish singers. Another favourite of mine is an English guitar player and singer by the name of John Renbourn. John Renbourn is known, or most famous for being one of the guitar players for a jazz folk outfit called Pentangle, and that is one of my favourite bands. Quite eclectic, some great songs, great singer in Jackie McShea. We had Bert Jansch, who was the other guitar player in this, and we've all heard of Bert Jansch, a bit more famous than John Renbourn, but both marvellous in their own right. This album consists of songs which he's written, and there's covers on here. And as he's written down the titles of the songs, he's just given just a little bit about the song. So side 1's called Another Monday, and he's got a little quote, much the same as Another Tuesday. Lady Nottingham Toy Buffet, a result of my studies with guitarist and nobleman Tim Walker. Track 3, I Know My Babe, and he says about this, sometimes called Woman Blues or I Know My Rider, this song is known by most blues guitar players. Waltz, which is track 5, and it's a bluesy instrumental based on a kind of 3-time rhythm. To most blues players, that's kind of triplets or a shuffle. Lost Lover Blues, a well-known railroad blues originally recorded by Blind Boy Fuller. Jackie McShea sings with me on this one. Jackie is a young singer whom I first met at the Red Lion Club, Sutton, where she was a resident. Well, Jack McShea and John Renbourn created Pentangle. Last track is One for William, a piece for oboe and guitar which starts with a slow outline of the scale used and then moves into an improvised middle section. So it's great having these kind of little quotes by John Renbourn. Side 2 is Buffalo, a track called Buffalo, an instrumental blues from the repertoire of Davy Graham. Well, Davy Graham was basically one of the first guitar heroes of the folk world, and I've got a couple of his. I haven't got any vinyl, but I've got CDs of his, and Davy Graham was absolutely legendary. Track 2, Sugar Babe, Lost Lover Blues, thinly disguised. Fair plays, because some of these songs have been traditionally arranged. Can't Keep From Crying, a song taught to me by Mike Rogers. This one has Jackie singing a low chorus line, so we've got Jackie McShay back on this one again. A Day at the Seaside, a picking tune similar to an instrumental played by Bert Jansch called Living in the Country. And really famous last track on here, Nobody's Fault But Mine. A spiritual song sung by Jackie and played bottleneck style. Nobody's Fault But Mine would have been, I think you'd have had Blind Willie Johnson would have sung this one back in the 1920s. This album was recorded in London in 1966, and it's a great John Renbourn, and this is an original album, and it's called John Renbourn, Another Monday. Can't talk highly of John Renbourn. Great singer, great guitar player, and I've always admired his work. We're going back down Ireland way now, and we've got Tommy Macken and Liam Clancy, and the album's called Two for the Early Dew. Now, Tommy Macken and Liam Clancy were the main musicians for the Clancy brothers. Born in Ireland, County Tipperary, and then they moved to Canada, and then they moved into America, and they became really famous in Greenwich Village around the time of the folk revolution of the 1960s, and they used to wear these kind of white polo neck fisherman jumpers, you know, and but they were hardcore Irishmen, and they drank hard, they played hard, and they sang some wonderful songs. And some of the songs in here will be The Day of the Clipper, The Dawn of the Day, Cruising Lan, Red is the Rose, and that was written by Tommy Macken, and that's quite a famous song. Side B, Bower Madden Tune, The Cocky Farmer, Morning Glory, Clear Away in the Morning, The Newry Highwayman, written by Tommy Macken and by Tom Clancy. The Parting song, Journey's End. And I made a little mistake there. It's Tommy Macken and Liam Clancy. Musicians on this album would have been Tommy Macken vocals, Liam Clancy instrumentals, and a whole lot of fantastic musicians, including Alan Barty, Lucy Cowan, Christy Cowan, Hughie Flint on Baran. I'm going to check if that's the Hughie Flint from the John Mayer's Blues Breakers. Be lovely if it was. Anyway, Tommy Macken and Liam Clancy from the Clancy brothers. That's called Two for the Early Dew. Great traditional Irish album. One really close to my heart. This lady and myself were brought up in the same little valley, and we went to the same school, and that's Mary Hopkins. And this was her first album under the Apple label, and the Apple label was run by the Beatles, basically, Paul McCartney, John Lennon. But Paul McCartney in particular was quite, he didn't discover Mary Hopkin as such. He was told about this young lady. She just won a TV talent competition, and he got to see this little clip of this fantastic singer, and basically he signed her to Apple. Now, Mary was brought up listening to artists like Pete Seeger, Woody Guthrie, Joan Baez, so she was a traditional folk singer. But Paul McCartney tried to push her into more contemporary poppy music of the time. And she did kick against this, you know, and she wasn't that pleased that she was being pushed down this little road. And although they had a great kind of working partnership, and even the pictures, the photographs were taken by Linda McCartney for this album called Postcard, Mary Hopkin. She was a fantastic Welsh folk singer who spoke in the traditional Welsh language, and she sang in the Welsh language as well. And she's actually got a Welsh language song on here, so I can imagine she had a fight for that one on here. Anyway, the tracks in here would be Lord of the Reedy River. That's a great start to, you know, to show a prowess as a folk singer. Happiness Runs, Love is the Sweetest Thing. Track 4 is the Welsh language, Her Blodyn Gwyn. And I'm a Welsh speaker. I'm not fluent Welsh, but I know a Blodyn Gwyn means the white flower. Track 5, the Honeymoon Song. Track 6, the Puppy Song. Track 7, Inchworm. Although there's some kind of contemporary songs in here, Mary Hopkins, you can't deny when you listen to her, she is a folk singer. Side 2, The Voyage of the Moon. Track 2, Lullaby of the Leaves. Track 3, Young Love. Track 4, Someone to Watch Over Me. Track 5, Prince Avignon. Track 6, The Game. Track 7, Show Business. Now, Mary Hopkin is still singing. She lives in California, but she still comes back to visit. And I know her mother lived to a real ripe age, and she was still coming back to this little village in South Wales called Pontardawe, and that's the valley I'm from. Anyway, this album was released by Apple Records, Savile Row, and on the back it's got Love from Paul, Ken and Linda. Great little album. Not a lot inside. You can see the Apple label. And Paul McCartney and Lennon did like the Welsh artists, and one of the most famous artists, Welsh artists they had on their record label was a Welsh rock band from Swansea called Badfinger. One of Great Britain's legends, and that's Ralph McTell. I've had the privilege of being to 3 of his concerts, and Ralph McTell came to one of my gigs, which scared me silly, because Ralph McTell and Jerry Donahue were great mates, and Jerry had produced quite a lot of Ralph McTell albums. And Jerry contacted Ralph McTell to say that we were playing the tour, and one of the nights was in Newquay, Cornwall, where Ralph McTell didn't live far from there. And he turned up and he sat in front of me. And I was going, oh my God, please don't look too much at me, because Ralph McTell is known to be a great blues guitar player, you know. And I'm not bad, but nowhere near Ralph McTell's way. And he sat and he watched me, and I whispered to him, I said, you need to be looking at Jerry, not me. Anyway, he's a lovely man. Met him. He's come to my gigs. I've been to many of his gigs, and a wonderful guy. Again, still playing. He's in his 80s and he's still playing gigs. And this is a great album. The first track is his most famous album, and it's called The Streets of London. Well, it wasn't going to be called The Streets of London when he first wrote it. He was living in Paris, and it was called The Streets of Paris. But it just didn't work as a name or a title. So he changed The Streets of Paris to The Streets of London, and the rest is history, really. So we've got second track, Mrs. Adlam's Angels. Track 3, Wino and the Mouse. Track 4, Fogland. Track 5, Last Train and Ride, The Fairground. Must go back. Track 4 is England 1914. Side 2, Spiral Staircase, which is the name of the album. Bright and Beautiful Things, Daddy's Year, another one which is an arranged song, and if I can pronounce it, Ritsakaru. Track 6, My Baby Keeps Staying Out All Night, and track 7 is Terminus. One of my favourite Ralph McTell songs isn't on this album, but it's called From Clare to You, and it's a great song. It's about an Irish Navy worker in London, and he lived in County Clare, and the song's about him being a long way from home. Anyway, there it is, Ralph McTell, Spiral Staircase. We're going to cross now to New Zealand, and live at the Talk of the Town. So Talk of the Town would have been England, but the Seekers were a New Zealand folk band, and they did become a pop band later on, and they were called the New Seekers. But the Seekers in their heyday were big fans of, again, like Pete Seeger, the Weavers, Joan Baez, and it's just I just love her. I think she's just a great singer, and it's a great album. And track 1 is Music of the World Turning. Track 2, I'll Never Find Another You. It's quite a famous song, that one. Track 3, With My Swag on My Shoulders. Track 4, Hello Mary Lou. And I think that would have been Buddy Holly. I Wish She Could Be Here. Track 6, We Shall Not Be Moved. Again, Pete Seeger made that famous. Track 7, Mornington Ride. Track 8, A World of Our Own. That's a lovely song. Side 2, A Rattler. Then we've got track 2 is called The Olive Tree. Track 3, Colours of My Life. Ragtime Sweet Adeline. Maple Leaf Rag. Angeline is Always Friday. Love is Kind, Love is Wine. The best song on here, without doubt. Well, 2 of them. The Carnival Is Over. That is a Seekers classic. And back when we were youngsters, there was a film called Georgie Girl, and the Seekers were given the opportunity to write that song, and that's a brilliant album. Not a lot inside it. That's the rear. This is an original on the EMI label, live at the Talk of the Town. I've got something on my screen by there, which I'll get rid of. When we were growing up, there used to be a program called, a program presented by a lady called Nana Muscuri. Now, a lot of people deride her. I think she was marvelous. I think she was a great singer. And what people don't realise is, she was brought up on traditional folk music, especially the American folk music of Woody Guthrie and Pete Seeger, Joan Baez, etc. And this album's called Nana Muscuri, Nana's Book of Songs, which is jam-packed with fantastic songs. And there's no doubt that you've heard of some of these. And the first one is After the Gold Rush, and that's Neil Young. Track 2, If You Go Away, and that's Jacques Brel, the great Belgian chanson singer, and I do love Jacques Brel, and that's just a heartbreaking song, and she does it so brilliantly. The Three Bells, Tapestry, which would have been a Carole King song, and the last song is All Through the Night, which I do kind of promote my country of Wales, the Welsh language, and All Through the Night is a Welsh hymn. So always proud of Wales when these international singers sing these songs, because Pete Seeger did a fantastic song by a Welsh poet called Idris Jones, and it was called The 12 Bells of Merthyr. Side 2 starts off with the Sandy Denny song, and probably Sandy Denny's most famous song, Who Knows Where the Time Goes. And once again, Nana Muscuri does a brilliant version of that. She's gone out of her comfort zone a little bit here, even though this is a folky album. She's doing a Beatles song here, and that's Eleanor Rigby, and she does a marvellous version of that. Track 3, Fire and Rain, which would have been James Taylor. The Wedding Song, and when I was I think I wasn't even a teenager when this song came out, and it's called Seasons in the Sun, and again that's written by Jacques Brel. Nina Muscuri, seriously, don't ignore this lady. She was Greek. She was absolutely brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Has sold millions upon millions of albums, and this album was accompanied by the King's singers, which were really, really famous folk players themselves. It's on the Fontana label, so check it out. Nana Muscuri, don't bypass her, she's really good. Okay, then let's get down to the USA, and without doubt my favourite, Woody Guthrie. This album's called Poor Boy, and we've discussed Woody Guthrie on one of the episodes. It was called Folk America. So this is a second album I've got of his, and this has got obviously some great classic songs. I don't think he wrote a dud, did he, Woody Guthrie? And the tracks in here would be called Baltimore to Washington, Little Black Train, Who's Going to Shoe Your Pretty Feet, Slipknot, and that's not the heavy metal band, Poor Boy, the title track, Mean Talking Blues, Stepstone, and that's with Sonny Terry, and I'm going to be covering Sonny Terry in a future blues. Side 2, Bed in the Floor, Little Darling, and that's Woody Guthrie again with Sonny Terry. The minor song, Train Blues, this is an instrumental and this is a great song. Danville Girl and Ride Old Paint. I can't speak highly of Woody Guthrie. Obviously, to me, he was the bedrock of what came after, you know, from Bob Dylan to Joan Baez. When you fly over to the UK, he had such influence on basically bands like Lonnie Donegan, all, you know, the great folky bluesy singers of the time, and so that's one of my favourite albums, and that's Woody Guthrie, Poor Boy. Let's go back to Ireland and the Fureys and Davy Arthur. The Fureys are a traditional Irish band, but they did lend themselves to get it on to like maybe cabaret shows, a lot of TV shows, because they were great singers. They sang fantastic songs, and they wrote some lovely songs as well. I've always loved the Fureys, and I've got a couple of Furey albums, and we'll be bringing another one out. I'm on this one. This album is called The Fureys and Davy Arthur at the End of the Day. And it features Finbar Furey, Eddie Furey, George Furey, Paul Furey, and Davy Arthur. And track 1, A Perfect Day. Fantastic, lovely song. Come By the Hills, another lovely Irish ballad. Morning Has Broken, which Cat Stevens played. Don't think he wrote it. Love Is Pleasing. It's a really lovely ballad now called The 12th of Never. Annie's Song, that had been John Denver. The Old House. And again, All Through the Night is on here again, which is another great song. Track 2, Bless This House, Smiling Through, Bright Eyes. Now I'm not sure. This is written by Mike Batt, so I think this is the Art Garfunkel song. Wait Till the Clouds Roll By, Bonnie Mary of Argyll, getting more traditional now. The Sally Gardens. This is a lovely song, The Last Rose of Summer. Lovely. And it ends with Amazing Grace at the End of the Day. The Fureys, great Irish band. And we're still touring a bit, not with all the originals, but they're still out there. I think without doubt we can say that Cat Stevens was grounded in folk. I love Cat Stevens. Goes under the name now of Yusuf Islam. He follows his faith, which is brilliant. And his first 4 or 5 albums were absolutely wonderful, brilliant. The songs he wrote are still major anthems to this day. And this is one of his most famous albums, and this is called Tea for the Tillerman. Fantastic cover. And we've got a gate sleeve. Not much to the gate sleeve. We've got the tracks in there, and I think that's someone on the mixing desk, I think, or one of the audience. And the tracks in here, and one of the tracks in here is one of the ones I play at my gigs, and I'm still playing that song now, and it's called Where Do the Children Play? And that's still relevant to this day, isn't it? You know, this song was written back in about 1971, and it's about big lorries burning up gas, it's building skyscrapers, and it's all about climate change, I suppose, isn't it? So Where Do the Children Play? It's a great mid-tempo ballad, which is always a winner to play. And when he did Glastonbury a couple of years back, that was his encore song. Hard-Headed Woman, love that song again, another famous Cat Stevens song. Probably the most famous song Cat Stevens wrote was Wild World. Overplayed a little bit, I think, covered by quite a few bands, but I still love Cat Stevens singing it. Absolutely amazing. Sad Lisa, There's another, it's a really sad ballad. I absolutely love that one. Another favourite song of mine is Miles from Nowhere. And he was just a great lyricist. And he had some great musicians playing with him as well. But I Might Die Tonight. That's a great song. And that's start of track 2. Another favourite song of mine on here is called Longer Boats. He writes as if he's writing a story, as if he's writing a book. And Longer Boats is another great one. Into the White, it's a lovely ballad. It's like the greatest hits, but it's not. This album was just a studio album. On the Road to Find Out, that's discovering himself. Another famous song, which I don't want to say who one of the cover bands who played this, and I don't think they did it justice at all. The song's called Father and Son, and it's one of my favourite songs. But this boy band, I didn't rate the version at all. And the last track of all is called Tea for the Tillerman, and that's the title track of the album. These first 4 albums of Cat Stevens were absolutely brilliant. You had Teaser on the Fire, Cat, you had Catch Bullet 4. And we'll be talking a bit more about Cat Stevens because I have got a few more of his albums. So we'll have a little chat with them. Anyway, Cat Stevens, Tea for the Tillerman. Gordon Lightfoot, I'm so glad I was named after him. Still one of my favourite 12-string singer-songwriters. And we spoke about Gordon Lightfoot on the country episode. But he was owned as well on folk music, and a lot of folk followers loved him. I did as well. It's a great album. It's I think it's a French album. It's got a nice gatefold sleeve, and it's produced and made in France. Guitar players on it would have been Terry Clements, Red Shane, Gordon Lightfoot. Bass, Rick Haynes, John Stockfish, Junior Huxley. Drums, Jim Gordon, Ken Butty and Barry Keane. All songs written by Gordon Lightfoot and all classic songs. So this is a double album. So we've got some great songs in here, and these would have been like the best of Gordon Lightfoot. So side 1 would be I'm Not Saying Ribbons of Darkness, Song for a Winter's Night, Canadian Railroad Trilogy, Softly, For Loving Me Did She Mention My Name, side 2 Affair on 8th Avenue, Steel Rail Blues, Wherefore and Why, Bitter Green. Last track is my favourite, and Peter, Paul and Mary did an exceptional version on this, and it's called Early Morning Rain. Second record, side 1, Minstrel of the Dawn. Another famous Gordon Lightfoot song is track 2 called Sundown. It's a great song. Beautiful, Summer Side of Life, Rainy Day People. That's great. That's a great song. You heard that so many times. Cotton Jenny. Side 2 of the last record is Don Quixote, Circle of Steel, Old Dan's Records, and another famous Gordon Lightfoot song, If You Could Read My Mind. Unbelievable album, unbelievable. Cold on the Shoulder and Carefree Highway. This is French import album. Great. I picked these up in second-hand record stores, charity shops. You'll find them there, and they're little diamonds, they're little treasures when you find them. So, Gordon Lightfoot. My last album of this episode is called The Best of British Folk Music. And again, I think I paid the pricely sum, I think, of 20p for this album. And it's one of those little diamonds you find in a charity shop. And picked it up. I knew I was going to buy it. And side one, Pentangle. And we've already spoke about John Renbourn. Earlier on, he was one of the guitar players for that. Steve Tilston, I'm Reaching Out. Mr. Fox, the Gay Gossard. We've got Bert Jansch now, The Needle of Death. What a wonderful sad song. It's about heroin, and you need to listen to that song. If you can get on YouTube or whatever, have a listen to it. The Young Tradition, Johnny Barleycorn. John Renbourn now, so we've got John Renbourn doing a solo on this, and this is called Westrand Wind. Side 2, The Johnstons, Yea, Jacobites by Name. John James, To Meet You, I Hurry Down. The Ian Campbell folk group, Paddy Layback. Dave Cartwright, Tom All Alone. And then another album which we've just a little chat about, and that's Finbar and Eddie Fury from the Fureys, The Lonesome Boatman. Great song. And last track, Hamish Imlash, History of Football. Great little compilation album. And if you can pick up things like this, it gives you an insight into the great sound of British folk music. Like the British blues, the British folk players and groups and singers, they put their own little twist on these songs, you know. And although we come from a great tradition of folk music, you know, we kind of, one of our greatest exports from many years back, from 100 years back, you know. And they say that blues was taken from Irish blues, Irish folk music as such. Anyway, the best of British folk music, a great compilation album, and one which is often on my turntable. Anyway, guys, take care. I'm going to see you next week for episode 13, and we are going down the hard and heavy road. So look out for a little bit of head banging and ear bashing. Take care, everyone. See you next week.